Okay, so I know you guys see the title, and I know I left this job, but we are going to sit here and we're going to talk about it like adults, okay? So, hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about dialysis. We're going to be talking about PCTs, dialysis technicians, or CCHT, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to talk about my entire experience and why I didn't feel like it was for me anyway, even though I did get fired. If you haven't seen that, then it's in my video I did to Get Ready With Me. Go check that out. And I explain why I got fired and what happened. But we're going to be talking about my overall experience, what I had to do, and things like that. So if you're interested, then stay tuned.
Savage bitch, in your trap and take over. Name another bitch that's colder. I just bought a brand new Rover. I don't even drive no more, I got a chauffeur. Took off, man, they asking me to slow up. Getting wiser and my money getting older. I'm that bitch, I ain't even gonna hold you. I'm that bitch, and I thought that they told you.
Okay, guys, so this job, okay, I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. When I found this job, I just wanted to stick. Like, I was leaving the plasma center, they was only offering me $11. The hospital wasn't really working out for me because I didn't want to transfer patients. I just wanted to stick. And when I seen that dialysis, you stick, I was like, oh, I'm gonna apply for this job. But I didn't see the catheters. I didn't see pushing the patients in and putting them in their chairs. I didn't see all that with coming into dialysis. So when I applied and I got the call back like as soon as possible, I was so excited. They was offering me enough money to quit both of my jobs because I could get overtime. So it was just like, when I got in there, I was like, yes, I'm gonna do this, I'm excited, da, 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 da. But then, like, after I started taking the tests and stuff, it was like, it was okay, it was cool. But I finally got onto the floor, and I learned fast, very, very quickly, that I would be doing more than just sticking a person, which I was used to at a plasma center. I was used to people walking to their chairs, laying down in the bed one by one, and I just literally stick. Like, I would literally, at the plasma center, get a whole bunch of papers, call them one by one, or call them all up. They'll get in the line, and I'll tell them where to sit. Everybody sits down, and I'll literally go. Stick from 6 people, then come back around to 6 and stick the next 6 people. That's what I was used to. I was used to people just, you know, coming to their chairs and stuff like that. So I learned that I would have to push wheelchairs. I would have to let stretchers in. I have to get their chairs ready so they can, you know, get in their chairs so they can get their treatments and stuff like that. And so, honestly, I didn't want to deal with, I felt like what I was getting paid was not enough. It was, I don't care now, I don't work there. You start off at $13.50 with this company. So when I started, I was like, this is a lot for just $13.50. First of all, you have to, it's just like, I don't know how to put it. Okay, I'm gonna try to say this nicely because I love the patients there. I grew relationships with some of the patients. Some patients I never grew relationships with. Some patients gave me a really hard time. Some patients are sweet and kind. Some patients don't say anything at all. But when I did first start, I did not want to push wheelchairs. I did not want to transport patients at all. And that was just me on my part, not doing research about the job, because you do have to get the patients from the lobby, and you do have to push them to the back, and you do have to help them get in their chairs. Like, you have to, if they're having trouble walking, you have to help them to the chair and, you know, make sure that it's locked and stuff like that. You do have to make sure all of that. And then if they're coming in the stretcher, you got to make sure that the chair is locked when they get there so they can put them in the chair, and then you have to push the chair to where it's supposed to be. It was just a whole bunch of stuff. I did not want to transport at all. That's just me, you guys. I did not want to transport. I hated transporting. I just did not want to transport. So with that being said, when I learned that you have to deal with a catheter, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do? Because literally there's this thing hanging out of somebody's chest that I was afraid to handle, because I felt like if I tug too hard, this thing is going to fall out in my hands. Blood is going to be everywhere, and most likely this patient will die in my hands. So I was very terrified on dealing with the catheter, but I was very interested in grafts, fistulas, having fistulas and grafts in your thighs. Like, some people have it in their legs, some people have it in their arms. I was so interested in that, but the catheter, I just did not want to deal with the catheter because I felt nervous with the catheter. And honestly, when I first started dealing with the catheter, you guys, I was shaking so freaking bad that it wasn't even funny. Like, it was so terrible. Like, I moved so slow. I was shaking so bad. I was so scared. It was just a lot of things going on with me starting. I had like 3 trainers, y'all. My first trainer left. My second trainer wasn't really training me enough. My third trainer was the best trainer I ever had. It was just a lot of a learning experience for sure. I wouldn't do it again. That's why when I got fired from DaVita, the company DaVita, I was told to go apply at Fresenius or go apply to any other dialysis, but I just was so exhausted from dialysis that it's not just the transporting, it's the company within itself. The whole dialysis like field is very unorganized. My company, they was doing a lot of cuts. So with that being said, there was a lot of dialysis, like, what's it called? I forgot what the things are called. The dialyzers. There was a lot of dialyzers that people were not on, that they were supposed to be on, just because the company made a major cut in like spending or whatever. So they stopped buying that certain dialyzers. So we were supposed to have 21s, we're supposed to have 300s, we're supposed to have 400s, we're supposed to have 19s, we're supposed to have, I think there was 18s, we're supposed to have, no, it wasn't 18s, it was 17s, we're supposed to have 15s. We didn't have every single dialyzer that there is. That everybody's different, everybody has a different dialyzer. We did not have what we were supposed to have at all. So with that being said, yes, I know in the medical field there's a lot of things that were cut back, but that was more PPE, like lab coats and gloves and stuff. That stuff was running out, not the patient's dialyzers. Because it's like when a doctor put a patient on a certain dialyzer and they send them to that clinic needs, like, should have that dialyzer, not just because they want it, it's because they need it. And I feel like that was not fair to the patients. I feel like the whole dialysis field is unrealistic. Mind you guys, this is my opinion. I feel like they're unrealistic because when it came to scheduling patients, they schedule patients back to back. Mind you, if a patient misses like a minute or 5 minutes of their treatment, they put themselves at risk, a higher risk of, dying, because they can't pee or they can barely pee. They have to get that fluid off. So if they intentionally cut a patient's, treatment just for getting them on late, or, something happened or this and that, because the patients aren't scheduled the way they should be. Some of the patients are scheduled to come in at the same time. And it's just like okay, so say a patient is supposed to come in the building. Like, the patient on the schedule is 12 o'clock. Their blood is supposed to be in that machine by 12 o'clock. Not, the patient's just walking in. And that's where some of the miscommunication happens, is when patient says, I'm only supposed to come in at 1. So they'll come in at 1:05. And then with that patient coming in late and you're working on the next patient, the first patient gets upset and it's like, hey, my time. But they came in late thinking, oh, it's just 1 o'clock. Oh, it's just 5 minutes. But we're like, us as, well, I can't really say us anymore, but us as dialysis techs or PCTs, we have to get everybody on time. The schedule has a set time for when you're supposed to get on. You run your full time, and when you're supposed to get off, you have somebody right behind you. So us as the workers try to abide by the schedule, but some of the patients don't really understand. So it's just like when a patient comes in, right, okay, I'm trying to make up a good scenario. Well, I don't really have to make up. There's a lot of scenarios I have in my head from when I worked there. So, okay, so I'm gonna refer back to this one scenario. A patient was coming in. Okay, so a patient was coming in, putting them on. This patient gets on time, right? The next patient comes in. Oh, y'all taking too long. Y'all do this, y'all do that. Y'all don't really care about us, and it just takes y'all forever to call us back. Mind you, as this patient is complaining, this is the same patient that takes their time walking to the chair. This patient will walk to the chair, walk to the scale, wash their access or whatever they're supposed to do, walk back to the chair, get all their stuff out, their blankets, their candy, their tablets, whatever else they feel like they need. Then they'll go to the bathroom. Then they'll come back and adjust their blankets and stuff. And then, but if you as a tech be like, man, I'm on a schedule, I can't wait on this person all day because it's gonna bring, like, if you let one person mess up your schedule, you might as well say fuck it to the rest of your day, because everybody's going to be off schedule if you let that one person mess up your schedule. So by waiting on him would mess up your schedule. So at this point, his butt is not in the chair. He's past his time. So you move on to the next person and try to get them on because they're supposed to be on at the same time, at a certain time. And this person is already taking their time. This person seems like he or she doesn't care. So you're moving on to the next one. And then once you move on to the next one, oh, you skipped me. That's not the order, and da 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 da. But you're on a schedule. It's sad to say it, but sometimes you have to worry about you, just like the patients worry about them. They're only worried about their time. They're only worried about their well-being. They only worry about them. They don't worry about you. They don't worry about your schedule. They don't worry about everything you have to do when you get them on. They don't worry about what you have to check. They're just worried about them. So you have to take the initiative and worry about you. Not in a selfish way, as in don't care about the patients. More like of doing what you need to get done. Because I am in the beginning, I'm very soft-spoken. I'll let people run all over me. But eventually I'll start to get the feel of everything, and then I start to get, I start noticing things. I'm like, no, this can't happen. So I just move on. He's fussing, he's cussing. It is what it is. Just let them fuss and cuss. And then you go on, and then you come back to them, and it's just like, oh, da da da, you're not touching me, or blah blah blah. It's just, dialysis is so unorganized, and it's sad to say that, because there are some people that work in dialysis that mean well, just trying to change the organization, trying to make it better, but it's just so unorganized, and they are so understaffed because they're not paying people enough. You're not paying people enough to get cussed at. You're not paying people enough to lift these patients out their wheelchairs with your full body strength. So sometimes you need another tech to help you get them out the chairs into the chair. You don't get paid enough to warm up their food if they ask you to warm up their food. You don't get paid enough for if they pee or poop in their bed and you have to clean the chair. You don't get paid enough for that. $13.50 is not enough. And I feel like dialysis needs to raise their pay for their techs, because that's why they are so understaffed. Same thing with the plasma center. That's why they are so understaffed, because they're doing so much in a little bit of time. Yes, you only have 4 patients, but it's just like you have a schedule to go by. If you don't go by this schedule, you're risking all, it's sad to think about it, but if you don't go by this schedule, you're risking all your patients' lives if you don't run them on their full time. And it's like, okay, so say your first person in your pod, you only get 4 people. Your first person in that pod is taking forever. So you move on to the next one. You move on to the next one, and he's last, and you finally get to, you know, put him on, and he wants to run his full time. You have to make a choice of whether, okay, so if you put a patient on late because of machine issues, because of your issue, like something you've done, they can run their whole time. You can be like, okay, so do you still want to run your whole time? Because I know it was my fault that you was late on the machine. So do you still want to run your full time? But if the patient is doing whatever, just whatever, and they want to run their full time, you have to be like, no, I have a schedule to go by. You came in really late and you need to get off when you're supposed to get off. Sometimes you have to be firm with them, but not so firm to where you're arguing with them, but they're not going to like your answer. So it's best to talk to the nurse or whatever the case may be, because the patient's always right. Sad to say it, but the patient's always right. And that's where it just, I knew I wasn't going to do dialysis much longer. Before I was even fired, I was looking for another job, because it's just like, I'm not going to deal with the stress from the patients. I'm not going to deal with the stress from the nurses that don't really do anything but sit down and watch Netflix all day and pull a little meds here and there. But when somebody's blood pressure is like, they should be dead, they don't want to check up on the patients. The patients ask for the nurse, you don't barely want to budge or you don't want to move. I didn't want that stress on me and bringing it home. So anyways, I was going to leave. Them firing me was just a way of me finally getting that weight off my shoulders. Them firing me was a way for me to figure out this online school stuff. Them firing me was a blessing into finding this new job that pays me way more, to where I can get stuff done how I want to get stuff done without needing overtime, without doing 12-hour shifts, without feeling like I'm killing myself. So it's just you put all that weight on you from the patients and them like coming in with an attitude, because some of them are new to dialysis and they don't like having to come in at a certain time. So some of them are very mean. Some of them are always sad. Some of them don't want to talk to you. And you feel for the patients. You do feel for the patients. Some of the patients I did feel for. Some of the patients I did feel bad for. But then again, some of the same patients I felt bad for, some of the same patients I broke my neck like for, are the same patients that cussed me out, are the same patients that gave me a hard time when I messed up as a trainee. They're the same patients. Like I said, people worry about themselves. So you should worry about you and your well-being and your health and your mental state. Take your time. If you're new, take your time, learn the stuff, learn it right, and don't rush. Don't rush. Because I would say that's where most of the mistakes come from. Rushing, trying to get everybody on time, on the machines on time. But it's just like you can only do but so much. Like that job literally had me sweating. But it's like you can literally do but so much. It's just very unorganized. And if you're in dialysis or you are thinking about it, kudos to you. It is a free certification that they'll pay for. It's just, I couldn't make it. It's sad to say I couldn't make it, but I couldn't. It came to a point where I was dreading to come to work. I don't like to dread. I don't like to feel overwhelmed. I don't like to cry. I don't like to get frustrated all the time. Not saying that everything comes easy, but when it's almost every day and you get off work like, I'm glad the day is over. I'm so glad the day is over. It's sad. So it's just like, I was gonna leave regardless. It's just kudos to the people that's been there for years. Kudos to the people that's there and willing to stick. I can't do it. I cannot do it. I just want to stick. That's all I want to do is stick. That's why when I become a nurse, I don't want to be like a NICU. Not NICU. I don't want to be an ICU nurse. It's just seeing people like that and cleaning them and stuff. I can't do that. I can't do that. I can't do that at all. I really can't. Being a regular nurse, I can't do that as well. Like, I literally watched a nurse get her butt beat by a patient. This little old lady, she was just letting it hit her. And I can't do that. I'm in school for nursing, yes, but I just want to be surgical. That's all I want to do. I want to pass the equipment to the doctors or the surgeons. I want to see a heart. I want to see intestines. I want to see insides. I want to learn more about the body. That's what I want to do. So I just put that at the end of this video because I did not want you to think, well, Denai, you're going to nursing school. You're going to have to push patients. You're going to have to clean patients. You're going to have to deal with patients arguing. I just want to be in the surgical part. I just want to, I don't want to say fix, try to help patients. I just want to see how the surgeons do their job. I want to be there before the patients go into surgery. I want to be there after the patients come to surgery. That's it. I don't want to do anything else but that. That's where my heart is at. I wanted to be a surgical tech, but I was like, why not be a surgical nurse instead? So that's what I want to do, and I'm going to pursue my dreams. I'm just breaking into existence now, you guys, because today was an emotional day. Like, I had trouble with a lot of stuff in school, but I'm trying to push through. But dialysis is not for everybody. Dialysis it's not for the weak. Dialysis is for strong people. Not saying if you give up you're not strong. It's just, you're just tired. You're just overwhelmed. That freaking machine. That machine is freaking terrible. It's just, they rush you. That's all I can say. They rush you into getting on the floor. They rush you to get trained. They rush you into a pod. They rush you to be on your own by yourself. They rush you to put you on the schedule. It's just so unorganized. It's ridiculous. It's just, honestly, it's sad. I watched a tech basically kill a man, not purposely, but she made one simple mistake. And next thing you know, it seemed like almost all his blood was in the saline bag. I mean, saline bag, no saline, nothing but blood. And I swear to you that this person looked dead. Tongue blue, eyes bulging out, froze, mouth open. I assure you that this person was dead. Thankfully, some techs came that knew what they were doing. They had to give him straight saline. They had to get bloodlines in a saline bag and push saline straight through his catheter to bring him back, and we had to call 911. It was so sad, all because this tech was rushed onto the floor, all because this tech was scared to ask co-workers, what should I do, or I think something's wrong, or I need help. The same tech is still working for the company because they really need people. It's just sad. It's just so sad. Another thing was, I seen a patient come in with a whole bunch of fluid leaking from their legs. The nurses said it was okay. The nurses said, oh, it's fine. Like, literally, this patient had so much fluid on their legs that it was blown up like a balloon. And as you push her in a wheelchair, she would leave a trail like a snail. As she was sitting in her dialysis chair, she would drip a whole lake of her fluid on the floor. I never felt so upset. I never felt so sad. I never felt so disgusted. I never felt so mad at a person in my life. Because they were just like, oh, she's fine. Oh, she's fine. That lady needed to go to the emergency room. But it's just like, some people don't care. Some people care too much. I feel like I care too much. I'm a crier. I know, hard to deny a crier, but I'm a crier. I don't like to see people in pain. I don't like to. It's just a lot. Dialysis is an unorganized field that needs to be fixed, that needs their workers to be paid more, that needs more planning. Because they say everything's for the patients, but it doesn't seem like they're working to help the patients at all. Seems like patients are getting on the machines late. Seems like patients are not getting their full treatment. Seems like patients are not getting the right dialysis they're supposed to be on. Seems like patients are not being heard or not being listened to, and that's because of them so worried about, that's because of the company so worried about putting somebody on the floor just to fill a shift. Not everybody's being trained properly. And it's like they don't care. It's like they don't care. That's all I can say about dialysis. So if you're just now starting dialysis, I would advise you to change it. I would advise you to push through. I would advise you to attend the meetings that they have, because I'm pretty sure they have meetings, because mine did. I would advise you to speak up, talk for the patients. Even though it seems like they may not be listening, they might hear you, they might not. Just try, because it's sad to think that these patients have to go through this, and they have to be there they have to be there every other day for like 2 hours to 4 hours, 5 hours. It's a lot, y'all. Another thing that I forgot, which was really important. So this is a PSA. They are very, I don't want to say racist, but they're very racist. My clinic that I was at was mostly, the first clinic that I was at was mostly black. But the second clinic I was at was mostly white. So they attended to the white patients more than they did the black patients. Of course not the colored people. The white nurses, the white management, the white, I'm not gonna say the white techs either, because the techs were loving all around. Most definitely the white nurses and the white management took more time in the white patients than they did the black ones. I remember I was setting up a patient's machine, and a nurse came to me and was like, "Are you ready for Miss Such and Such yet?" And I was like, "No, I'm not. Such and such and such and such are before her anyway, so I don't understand why you're asking me about such and such." "Oh, well, I was just asking." So that nurse took it upon herself to get that patient and bring her back and put her on. Now this happened a lot with the white patients, and it was just terrible. And then we had this man that is funny man. He was hilarious. He used to fuss and cuss all the time, but you know, we will always laugh with him, we would joke with him. White management and the white nurses hated him. I remember there was a time where I was doing something and he was yelling, "I see black, I see black, I see black." And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm getting the nurse. I'm telling the nurse, he see black, he see black. She was like, oh, well, he always says that. He always says that. Mind you, this man always, if you pay attention to the patients, you understand when there's something wrong. Mind you, this man is always asleep, no matter what. Once he sits in the chair, once he gets stuck, he's gone until it's time for him to get off. He is knocked out. So when he's up out of the blankets and saying, "I see black," it doesn't click in your mind something is wrong with him. He's usually asleep. He usually doesn't talk this much. He only talks when he come in, gets stuck, and then he's asleep. So she didn't really pay attention to the patients as she should, and it was terrible. So I had to end up giving him saline, doing this, doing that. It was just terrible. Then it came a point where this black male, the patients hate the dialysis. They hate having to come in there, sitting there. They're older, so their butts hurt. This man always came in late, like an hour late, because he didn't want to run his full time. So then the nurse told him, well, if you can't run your full time, you can't have first chair. First chair is a early morning chair. I think there's like 3 chairs. There's early morning, there's mid, and then I think there's like evening. She said, if you can't come in and run your full time, we will give up your chair. Okay, that's what she said to him. Mind you, there's this Caucasian man that always calls out, doesn't run his full treatments, always complain and be like, well, I'm not coming in today, and he don't reschedule. So they catered to him. So I just noticed a lot of things that were just like, I can't sit here and watch this. I can't sit here and just be like, okay, like I can't, like it really bothered me. But that happens everywhere you go. But when you're sitting there and you're just like witnessing it and living it, and just like, wow, they really did that, or wow, they're really gonna be like that. It just amazes you how people are. It just amazes me how people are. It's just terrible. So if you are new to dialysis, or you're thinking about joining, and if you're thinking about joining, I would advise you to just learn what you can, learn it thoroughly, learn it the right way, and don't push yourself too hard to where you make the stupidest of mistakes, because trust me, I have made some, and I'll probably put that in another video. But that's all I can say. I hope you guys liked the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll be posting once a week, if not more than once a week. We're coming back with these videos, guys. So I hope you guys are enjoying my content, just like I am enjoying putting them out and editing for you guys. So I'll see you guys in my next video. Keep your hands washed, keep your mask on, stay safe, stay cautious, and I'll see you in my next one. Not all facilities are bad, but there are damn sure some that need some work. So